Welcome back to the channel. Today is finally the day I'm going to be installing the new Rough Country 6.5-inch lift onto the Jeep. So I had to fix a bunch of issues from the previous owner. The leaf spring mounts, the drive shaft was bad, so I took the drive shaft. It needed new U-joints, as well as there's a flex joint. They had to cut that out of the drive shaft and then weld a new one in. So I'll pick that up later, but what I want to do is get the rear of the Jeep back together, get the fuel tank back in it, then I'll work on the front, then we could go pick up the drive shaft, get this thing running and driving again. So I will put a link in the description for the Rough Country lift, and also we have the lift over here. So I've had this lift for about 2 months, but I was fixing all of the issues from the previous owner. So we have brand new leaf springs, we have new shocks, we have everything we need from Rough Country. Powder coated all the brackets, like the parking brake bracket, all of the fuel tank straps because they were dingy, and then these brackets that hold the rear fuel tank guard, these were all rusty, and then the bolts, they're pretty hard to get out. So now all that's nice and gloss black. I ended up Cerakoting these nuts for the rear leaf spring mount bolts, and these things came out really nice. So instead of powder coating these, I Cerakoted them just because it's a lot more durable. And since it's actually holding a bolt in and it needs to be tightened and torqued down, it made more sense to Cerakote this instead of powder coating it. I just got the repaired Jeep drive shaft, and this right here was all worn out. I now have the rear rough country lift installed on the Jeep, and you can see how much taller it is than the front. So now I'm going to install the front and we'll get her nice and evened out. But I'm really happy that I fixed all of the issues that was going on in the back, as well as undercoated the whole back. I really want to do the front, but I'm going to wait to do the underneath of the front until I do like an engine swap, pull the transmission transfer case so I can get around everything. But it's just really nice because I'll put a link in the description for the Raptor, but this undercoating I've had in the bed of my pickup truck, it's very easy to clean and it's very durable. So I don't have to worry about, you know, rocks flinging up there, four-wheeling, mud, any of that stuff. It'll pressure wash off really, really nice. As you can see, the wheel's pretty centered in the wheel arch, but those rear leaf spring mounts, I could adjust it and stretch it out a little bit, which I'm probably gonna put it one hole back, which I think they're like 10 mils or something, or 20 mils each time you move it back. Maybe it's half an inch. I don't know how the guy designed them, if they're inches or metric, but just push it back a little bit. You can see I have a nice shackle angle and everything is nice and clean. I really do like this lift, and I really like that I took the time just to clean everything up, because this was pretty much a clapped out Jeep. We have the new shocks on there. Everything just looks really clean. So there is a skid plate for the fuel tank, but I'm not going to put it on right now because I want to have it repowder coated, because it has a bunch of stickers on it from the guy that owned this thing before, and it just looks really, really bad. I know it's probably going to get scuffed up foiling, but I would rather have it nice and clean for now, and then, you know, if I scuff it up, I could redo it. But let's get the front done. now have the front Rough Country lift on the Jeep, and it looks really good. I like how Rough Country did a little bit of the engineering. On the Pro Comp lift, it utilized this factory mount, came straight down. In that bar they had a bunch of tire, it was pretty much rubbed down to the metal, because at full lock the tire was rubbing it. So these are bent. Looks like there's gonna be plenty of room for, you know, big tires, turning. I like the, you know, the brake cables. They give you new mounts for that. I was missing those. It was really nice to have all of this new. I like the shock. I also like, you know, the spring. It goes nice in the perch. Also, this is the sway bar disconnect, and the person that I got this Jeep from already had one on it, but I replaced all that because they had this mount up here just self-tappered, and these are self-tappers, but I put riv nuts in place of just self-tapping them in, so this isn't going anywhere, and then this just disconnects and that holds it up there. Another thing I like is everything down here with this bar coming in, and it doesn't utilize that mount. It's really nice. Up here you're supposed to use a through bolt, and back here I think it's a self-tapper. I just put riv nuts in both of those locations. Same thing down here on the transfer case skid plate. You're supposed to use self-tappers, utilize some riv nuts there. So I really like how much taller it's going to be. I mean, this thing is going to be a monster compared to the Pro Comp lift. So the last thing I have to do before I can go take it to the alignment shop and then be able to go take it four-wheeling is put on the HD steering kit. Since this already had a similar kit, this is pre-drilled out, but I still have to ream it. So Rough Country uses ball joints instead of Heim joints with through bolts, because those things, they were, you know, just clunking around and everything was really, really loose. They also, you know, had a new pitman arm. I centered the steering wheel, so we're not gonna have any weird steering wheel issues. And then I need to ream this out. So I'm gonna put in the description the link for the drill bit and the reamer you're supposed to use, because you're gonna have to do it. Everything steering wise and lift wise is now finished on the Jeep. I need to still bleed the brakes, but for the knuckles and the pitman arm, I thought the one Rough Country sent would have had that reamed, but you have to drill it out and use that reamer as well as on the knuckles, but then everything goes together really, really nice. One thing I like is that is a tapered ball joint. It seats a lot nicer than the Pro Comp just drilled it out to a 5/8, and then it just had a through bolt going to some Heim joints, which to me, that's, you know, that's probably where I was getting some of my shifting when I was driving it. It just felt really, really loose, and those were tight. So I have all the cotter pins in. I would recommend putting cotter pins in. These are nice and torqued down. I also have the sway bar disconnects kind of up here right now until I put it back on the ground with the wheels, but I'm gonna bleed the brakes, then I'll throw the wheels back on it. Moved the Jeep right here, drove it around a little bit, and it feels really squishy, but the one thing I like is it's nice and tight now. The steering isn't weird. I mean, it just is a whole lot better, as well as a bunch of stuff back here got fixed, and then everything up here. So big shout out to Rough Country to sending me the lift. A lot of people have a lot of bad stuff that they say about Rough Country, but when I was looking at the design of this kit, it looked way better than the Pro Comp that was on it. Especially right here, because you could go full lock to lock with the wheels and you're not going to be rubbing that bar right there. And then also back here where this bar comes in, it doesn't use the original mount, you cut it out, which was a plus because the Pro Comp lift pretty much destroyed that mount on the factory frame. So I would have had to replace it. And then back here we have the transfer case mount, and then all of the joints are really, really nice and beefy. And then up here, instead of using Heim joints, Rough Country uses some ball joints, which is really, really nice up here, right there. And you just have to do the reamer on the knuckles, this pitman arm, and it just, you know, feels really, really good. So I can't wait to actually take this thing out and go wheeling with it, because I really haven't done much of that in my experience. Me and Nate did some in his old Pathfinder. Huh, Nate? Yep. Got a few jumps in it. A few. But yeah, we'll probably take this thing out. Can't wait to do it. But I'm gonna end the video here. This was a ton of work. I still want to get this thing aligned, and I need to still bleed the brakes in the rear. The brake bleeder screws were stripped. I replaced the ones in the front. I was able to get some channel locks on them, get new bleeder screws, and Nate helped me bleed that. So yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was fun. It was more work trying to find the bleeder screws than actually bleeding the brakes. But can't wait to take this out. And as always, if you like these videos, make sure you click the subscribe button, thumbs up, throw a comment below. As always, see you guys next time.